Legit. When you when you go to the gym, to all my people that make some gains out there, when you don't go for a while, and by a while, I mean like 6 weeks, you don't go for so long, and then your first session back, everything is sore. That's me. And I've been going gym, right, since the start of the year. It's been like 8 months. It's like the longest time I've ever been to the gym. I'm so fucking proud of myself. And then exams came around. Then Japan came around, and apparently it's like very expensive to go to gym over there. Apparently it's like $30 for one session. Like, no way now am I going to do that. So then I come back, and then I started my 5x5 program. So I do squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press and bent over row. I switched that between a 2 workout split. So Monday and Friday will be one, and then Wednesday will be the other. Dude, my legs are so fucking sore. They're like jelly, dude. I'm so sore. I'm literally so sore. So yeah, rip. But welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Verdugo podcast. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. Today is Thursday. It is 2:21 in the afternoon, and I'm having a really day. It's just like a lethargic day, just because I think the keto flu is semi-kicking in, but like there was no food, so I kind of like cheated a little bit, but not too much. Kind of just had like a little wrap, if you might say. I kind of regret it now, but who gives a shit? I just put cheese in it, so it's not a big deal. But I'm going off topic, man. Hopefully you guys are having a great week thus far. I just came back from Japan last week. It's literally been 7 days, 1 week from today. And today's podcast is basically going to be about everything that went down in Japan. I was in Tokyo mainly. I went to Hokkaido, or specifically Sapporo, for 1 night. So 2 days technically. So we were there for a day, and then most of my time was in Tokyo. Now, this is the 3rd time that I've been to Japan. I've been to Japan 3 times. I've been going every year for the past 3 years. And whoa, fam, that's not a good way to freaking start the podcast with some fucking distractions. That's not good. Anyways, so I've been going every year for 3 years. I really want to go next year again. And the reason why I can is because Japan and Australia are really close, and therefore I get really cheap flights. When cheap flights do come around anyway. I mean, they're pretty close, I would think. Because like the flights are only $340 return. Like, that's insane. But like the flight that I get, it's not a really enjoyable flight. It's one of the worst flights, man. And we're going to talk about that as well, because I have a really, really bad fear of flying. And if you guys are aware of my Instagram, I actually did this podcast already, and I had to do it again today, because I was recording it all yesterday. It was almost 2 hours in, and I just had a lot of dropouts. I don't know why. So hopefully this podcast is going to be a lot better, and we can get this out for you guys. Because some people have been hitting me up on the IG DMs, fam. A lot of yous are going to Japan, or a lot of you people are going to Tokyo and Japan within the next month or so. I know someone was going on New Year's and Christmas. Like, what the fuck? Like, that is insane, dude. And the weather right now over there is beautiful. I mean, by my standards, it's super, super cold, and that's what I love. That's like the best weather to go. So if you haven't listened to my very first podcast, I highly recommend to listen to that, because I went into detail on my first 2 trips to Japan. So this one, we're just going to talk about basically the food, the tourist attractions / experiences, and of course, the pickups, the clothing pieces, and the shops that I've actually walked into and had an amazing experience at. And that's the only reason why I go to Japan most of the time. I only go to Japan mainly just to look at the clothes, look at the aesthetic of the individuals within Japan. Because you go, and I'm walking out in these streets. I'm walking out, dude, and I'm just getting so much inspiration, because everyone dresses so nicely. And everyone is very individual in a sense that you don't really see the one person wearing the exact same thing as the other. Whereas like here in Melbourne, you've got people in like joggers and TNs. Like, what the fuck? Whereas in Japan, it's completely different, man. You got people of so much different aesthetics and just mixing different styles all into one, and they just pull it off so well, because I think the care factor is just non-existent. No one gives a shit about what they wear in Japan. Like, it's kind of what I wear what I'm wearing is an expression of how I'm feeling or an expression of what I like. And that's all I care about. And that's why I respect them so much. And that's why I would love to live in Tokyo. So I was there for 3 weeks. I went with Jetstar, and I really am not ever going to fly again with Jetstar in my life. So we're going to talk about the flight or the flight situations from going there and on the way back. So on the way there, I was speaking to a lady who was next to me who was actually moving to Hokkaido for 6 months for work. She was like, I think she was like 26 or 27. She was like a very outdoor and travel person. Like, she's been everywhere. I was fucking admiring hard. She was like in Canada for 2 years, traveling the US, and then did a bit of South America, and now she's moving to Hokkaido for 6 months. So she's going to do a lot of moving within Japan too and explore Japan, and mainly for the skiing. That's why she went. Now, the reason I bring this up is because when I'm flying, I freaking hate it. Like, I get very, very anxious. Like, I've talked about anxiety in a previous video before, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on this podcast about it. We might in a separate video, 100%, like in the future. But I get very, very anxious on a flight to a point where, like, especially like the landing part and going through the clouds, it's kind of like I'm hyperventilating. I'm starting to tear up a bit. My fucking chest starts hurting and I can't move. And that's like something I don't ever want to experience that ever again. So speaking to this girl that was next to me while my girlfriend was just sleeping, having just knocked out because she hates flying, so she'd rather sleep. I was just speaking to her and kind of got my mind off things. And then eventually I was just tired and fell asleep. And on the way back, so we had a stopover in Cairns on the way back. So our flight was from Tokyo to Cairns and then from Cairns to Melbourne. Now the Tokyo to Cairns was pretty good, was fine. Like, I was pretty sweet with it. But from Cairns to Melbourne on the way home, fuck, that was really bad. Now, let's rewind a little bit. I went to Hawaii at the start of last year, and I was on a really, really bad flight to the point where when I was landing, the flight attendant next to me freaked out, and you could hear under his breath, "Oh shit, this is bad." That's when I was like, holy fuck, am I going to die today? It was a really, really bad flight. Nevertheless, like, you had to be there to experience it, but I really don't recommend you to ever experience this shit. Like, it was to the point where the plane had dropped so much that my ass lifted off the seat, and I was like really, really paranoid. It was shifting from side to side to the point where I was swaying and hitting my girlfriend and our other friend at the time. So that in itself kind of like switched my mind to where I hate flying. And that day I was literally thinking, am I going to die today? I know it's really, really shit to think about, but that's literally the only thing I was thinking about that day. Now, coming back from Cairns to Melbourne, the only thing I was picturing was that flight. Like, it was the flight in Hawaii was circling around the air for about an hour. A similar situation happened on the way back home from Japan. So that kind of like triggered something in my mind to think about that previous experience. And also the plane was shaking. It wasn't that extreme when my ass lifted off the seat from so much of a drop, but still that sense of dropping on the plane is fucked. And I'm fine with like roller coasters and everything. And I am fucking shaking speaking about this right now. Holy shit. So yeah, I'm fine with like roller coaster rides and everything. It's not a fucking big deal. They're fine. But this plane, I think it's the sense that you're in a seat and you can't do anything. Like, you're sitting there strapped in a fucking seat and you can't move. Like, you can't get up. You can't say, I want to get out of here, because you're so high up in the air. You jump out, bro, you're going to fucking pop and you're going to die. So, yeah, that was just kind of like my flight experience. I'm not going to fly with Jetstar ever again. I just really want to start flying some really good flights, man. I don't care how much it's going to pay, how much it's going to be. Because I always used to just be like, it's just a ticket. It's the same no matter what it is, like $300, $900, you're going to the same place. Why would you spend like $1,000? But now I understand why, because you get like free drinks, you get free food, you get like a 3-course meal, you get more leg room space. That's for freaking sure, man. I'm there sitting there like a freaking, I didn't even know, like it was just the most tiniest little spot and I can't even stretch my legs out, nothing. So I thought I'd get that out of the way. And also what I want to speak about is after that flight, the day after, I woke up in the morning and I had really, 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 really bad chest pain to like, it was in the middle of my sternum, and it was such an excruciating pain the day after, where when I woke up, I was laying on my back facing the roof, right? And that never really happens to me because I don't like sleeping on my back. I prefer to sleep on my belly. So I woke up, opened my eyes. I was like, all right, let's get up for the day. I tried to get up, and like a second as I lifted up my body, I had this excruciating, just really, really sharp pain, as if someone was like, honestly, it was like someone was stepping on my chest. Like a freaking 200 kilo person was stepping on my chest. That's how much weight was on my chest. And it was something I really never experienced before to that extent. Because it happened to me in Japan, but really slightly. I was like, wake up one morning, was like, ooh, my chest is like semi-sore. I don't know what's going on. Don't worry about it. But that day, dude, I worried about it so much. I ended up going to the doctors. I had blood tests done. I had an x-ray done. I had CSG. I think it's called a CSG scan. And they all test like your heart rate, and they monitor your heart. Because that was like the first thing I was worried about. I was worried about, is my fucking heart okay? Am I going to have a heart attack? Like, that was the only thing that was going through my mind, obviously, because like, you know, I overthink everything, and that's just me. So that Friday was a very interesting day, nevertheless. And I actually got my results yesterday, and everything's fine. I'm freaking pretty sweet as a cucumber, if that even makes sense. My blood levels are fine. My potassium, my calcium levels are fine. The only thing that was a little bit interesting is that my it's like called a serum creatine kinase or something like that. It's something that goes in your body where it increases the more. I'm trying to freaking explain this. Basically, this little ingredient in your body, it releases and becomes a higher amount in your body if you experience an injury, if you have muscle soreness, or if you're anywhere in your body that has a muscle and it's sore or it's been injured, that releases. Now, the day before, I had tennis, and that's when I took my blood test. So that's probably what it is. And I also have a slightly mild fatty liver, and that's most likely due to the really, obviously, overeating in Japan, having fried food in Japan. That's obviously not going to be good for your liver. It's not the keto, I would not think, because I actually don't consume that much dairy fat. I was on keto for 6 months, but prior to that, and I was fine, like to the point where I was just having veggies and meat. That's the only thing I was really eating. But off topic, let's get into Japan, dude. We'll start off with the food first, because the food over there is amazing. It's so good, but I'm very selective of what I like and what I don't like. And obviously, like, Japan is known for their seafood. So if you love your seafood, you love lobster, crab, what else is there? That's the only thing I can ever think of right now. Lobster, crab, fish, tuna, anything like that. They've got it, and they have a beautiful selection. My girlfriend loves seafood, and she was having the time of her life. Me, on the other hand, I particularly don't. The only thing I would ever eat is fried fish. A good old fried flake, fish and chips, mate. That's the best meal you could ever have on this fucking planet. So the only thing I really had was tempura prawns, and they were delicious. They were amazing. It was like tempura prawn, and like there was this place called Genki Sushi. So we're on the topic of seafood, might as well. This Genki Sushi is a conveyor belt sushi place where you order off an iPad, and then it comes on a conveyor belt. So you really never ever have to talk to someone apart from like anyone that's next to you, if like, you know, you're with a maid or something. And that place is so cheap. Like, it is ridiculously cheap, man. I think the max I paid was 1,400 yen, but I got a drink, and like the drink is like 600 yen. I think it was a draft beer, or Sapporo beer or something. I wanted to try it. So apart from that, I always mainly ever spend like 1,000 yen, and that's roughly like $11. So it is peanuts, and you have a really good time, and it's actually decent food too. It's not high quality, insanely good food, but it's still pretty good. Now, that place has tempura prawns. It has like a really crumb fried prawn as well, the two different ones. I just ordered that. The fries there were really good, dude. Like, I was really surprised. Like, you think, bro, you're going to Japan, why the fuck are you getting fries? Trust me, dude. Don't knock it until you try it, because that shit was one of the best fries I've ever had, dude. And they always come with like a plate of rice too. Whatever you order, like seafood, always comes on a bed of rice. So the rice is beautiful too. But My girlfriend always gets the fatty tuna, the salmon, and also lobster and stuff like that. And she said it's pretty good. So yeah. Genki Sushi, look it up. Great place. Next up, we've got now we're on the topic of food. We'll leave ramen for a little bit later. But one place is called Koko Curry. Koko Curry is a Japanese curry joint, which I always looked at and portrayed it as if it was a fast food joint. But it's not, but it is. You know how Macca's, here in Australia, Macca's is so like high end now? Like you go in and it's like almost like a restaurant. It's kind of like that, but not with the checkouts and everything like that. You sit down, you order, but it still gives like that fast food vibe. I don't know why. But the selection of the Japanese curry within Koko Curry is amazing because it's so versatile and it's so it's very personalized. So for starters, the rice, it's 300 grams. That's the base rate. It goes up to 900 grams of rice. 900 grams of rice. That's a whole fucking kilo. That is ridiculous, man. So you get that as the base, right? And then you get the curry, so you can get beef, pork, and there was another one, but it was always crossed out. I don't know what it was. So always get pork curry, and then you get the toppings. And what do you want on top of it? I've always got pork katsu, or is it tori? Is it tori or tonkatsu? I can't remember. It was like, I don't know. But pork katsu, it's basically it's like a schnitzel, but it fucking shits all over a schnitzel. It's so crispy, but it's so fluffy, and it's so moist in the inside too. It's insane. It's so good. I got 2 of those, 300 grams of rice, a shitload of curry, dude. And it always has you can always change the spice of the curry. You can either have it very, very spicy or as mild as you want to the point where it's not spicy at all. So I always got like a 3 or a 4, and I'm pretty good with my spice. And the 4, I was dying. So that kind of gives you an understanding. Like the Nando's, the hottest thing at Nando's, I deal with that pretty good. So that kind of gives you an understanding of what it's like. So Koko Curry, another really good place to go to. I've got a list of stuff here that I want to speak about. Another one is called a Fury, which is a ramen place. It's a Michelin star ramen joint. And if you like lemon-based ramen, then you will like this. Because I fucking hated it. It was Michelin star, and we're like, dude, it's got to be good. Like, if it has a Michelin star, obviously it's got to be good. Walked in, prices were already absurd. I was like, holy shit, this is very expensive. Obviously, because it's Michelin star. But it was like, it wasn't that they were toying with the whole ramen. Because traditional ramen is it's just noodles, broth, egg, pork. Or that's for me, tonkatsu. Tonkatsu ramen is pork broth based ramen. You got the pork, the egg, noodles, broth. That's it. It's simple. You don't change anything. Went to a Fury, bro, and they had all this freaking excessive, just over the top shit within the bowl. And I looked at it and was like, is this really necessary? I don't really need this on my plate. So if you like lemon base with a hint of fucking seafood, a hint of chicken, a hint of pork, literally everything that they threw in a freaking dish, I would recommend it, but I didn't like it. The only thing I liked were the noodles, and that was kind of pushing it too. Ichiran, we'll talk about Ichiran for a sec, because prior to this trip, Ichiran was the best place or the best ramen dish I've ever had in my life. Going back this 3rd time, I already knew exactly how it tasted, because that's how much I ate it on my 2nd time. I'm pretty sure, like, my 2nd time I think we went for 12 days or something like that. I reckon we had Ichiran 9 out of the 10 days or something like that. It was ridiculous because we loved it so much. And going back this 3rd time, we landed in at around 9:30. We didn't get into our apartment until about 11:30, 12. So we went out, went to Ichiran, and then the first ever dish we ever had in Japan was that. And it was trash. It was so fucking trash. I don't know why. I actually know why. I don't know why I'm talking shit. The noodles were curly. They were kind of like those instant noodles that you can buy at the supermarket and taste like AIDS. No. Ichiran, don't. That was just terrible. So I had that. The pork broth just wasn't nice. I feel like it was just the bottom of the barrel, and they like scooped up the fucking just the end bits that no one wanted, and they threw that on my plate. The egg was overcooked, and it's always like when you get a ramen dish and you get that egg, oh my God, it is just oozing and it's sexy. And this was overcooked. It was like scrambled. So no. and the pork was really chewy and it was overcooked too. So that was a really bad start to the food experiences in Japan. But then we found, my girlfriend found, apologies. She found a place called Tatsunoya. This place is in Shinjuku. And this ramen joint had the best ramen I've ever had. To this day, I will cry every time I eat that meal. And if I go back and I eat it again, when I go back again next year, dude, because I want to, and I eat that, the first thing I get there, I am going to cry because it is perfect. The broth, see, this is the thing, right? The broth is made with love because you can taste it. It warms my soul, because one thing I never experienced was being cold in Japan and then walking in and having a nice hot bowl of ramen. That combo is like yin and yang. Yin and yang? I don't even know if I pronounced that right. It's kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, It's just two things that just go together. So walking in, so cold, and then having that nice hot bowl of soup and the noodles, oh man, it's ridiculous. Holy shit. So the broth is perfect. It's pork broth, just letting you guys know. And the pork itself that they have in there, the slices of pork, you always get extra pork. You pick it up with the chopsticks, right? And like as you're picking it up, it's already pulling off like the pork itself. So it's that soft and it's just so soft and delicious that when you put it in your mouth, it just disintegrates and it just melts in your mouth. Like, it is insane. The noodles are cooked to perfection and they are made perfectly. They are Hakata noodles. So if you guys aren't aware, Hakata noodles are thin type. They're a thin type of noodle which they were first established in Fukuoka. I think that's like where Hakata noodles actually came from, because that's when the first Ichiran was based as well. It was based in Fukuoka. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I really like mine very firm, because when they're firm, the actual soup like kind of soaks in the firmness of the noodles. So as you're consuming the actual noodle, the soup goes with it. So that's insane. And then the egg. It's salty. It's oozing. You cut it with like your chopstick. You kind of just press them together and it just oozes over the ramen broth, man. Oh my God. And along with this bowl of ramen, the staff there are one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, man. Like, nicest people I've ever met in my life in terms of going to a store or going to somewhere to eat. And every single person that greets you, they're smiling at you, they're waving at you, they're like, they're pretty much saying, welcome to our home. Here, sit down, eat, and have a great time. So I'm just shaking because I just love that bowl of ramen. You can even tell my voice. I'm like semi-shaking. So you walk in and they have like that automated system where it's like a machine. You chuck in some money and then you select it from there. So it's very simple. It's not, anyone, like if you don't even speak English, it's very easy to understand too. So, or if you don't speak Japanese either, it's still good to understand. So, and that's one thing. Let me preach this right now. I don't know any Japanese. I only know konnichiwa and also arigatou gozaimasu. That's all I know. And also sumimasen. That's a really good one to use because that basically means excuse me / sorry. So if you want to ask a question, you just go sumimasen and then like look at you like, oh, well, what do you need? Which is really good. It's really handy. And then like arigatou gozaimasu, the gozaimasu part within arigato is like, it's kind of like a very, very polite way in saying like, I really thank you for helping me out. We always used to say it. And every time we walked out, we always used to say that. So that's really good. That's really good to know. Just letting you guys know. So back to that machine, you put that in, blah, 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 blah. The people say hello, you sit down and I think there's max. I think we counted. I think there was max 20 seats in that place. So you always really had to line up. But the first 3 times that we went, we never lined up. So I don't understand. It was really weird. So, and it's like in a bench. It's at a bench. Sorry, what the fuck just happened to my voice? Holy shit. It's like in a bench, right? So you see the kitchen in front of you, you sit at a bench and then they pass it to you. And then there's also like a table behind you, but that's like super woke because you don't get to see anything. So you sit at that bench and then you get to see them cook and then you see them like, they're not screaming, but they're kind of like, it's really hard to explain because I always say this term, which I kind of remember now. They say it when you leave, and sometimes when you I think when you enter as well, they say a certain phrase. I don't know what it is, but everywhere says it. But they say it so joyfully, man. Like, so joyfully. Is that even a word? They say it with full of joy, and just they're so happy about it, and they're so happy that you're there. So I highly recommend this place. It's called Tatsunoya. Please go. And I think those two are Fury, Woats. That's the only ramen that I tried, and this one too. There was another one, but I actually don't remember what it was called, and I actually don't remember the district. I think it might have been no, it wasn't in Asakusa. Oh man, it was in like a... Nah, I'm not even going into detail, but this one was pretty creamy. It was actually really good. It was a lot better than Ichiran, but unfortunately, I don't know the name of it. So, apart from the ramen, we'll go into some other dishes and stuff that I ate. Another one, which is melon pan. I've had melon pan before. If you guys aren't aware, melon pan is like a bread, but it's a sweet bread. But when you think of sweet bread, it's not that, if that kind of makes sense. The top is crispy, it's fluffy, and it's savory and sweet both at the same time. And it's really good because you can mix and match it with anything. Like, you can buy it by itself and it's amazing, and you can also buy it at this place called Second Best Melon Pan in the World. That's legit what it's called. It's in Shibuya. This place throws in vanilla ice cream and a slice of pineapple. That was the best melon pan I've ever had. It's like, that's with the pineapple and vanilla ice cream. But this other place in Asakusa, it's close to the shrine, a very, very famous shrine that everyone goes to. It's such a touristy spot. I went again and I fucking hated it. Oh my God. So I went there the second time, right? And we wanted to go the third time to get some nice photos. But there was just so many people. It was so many more people than second time, man. It was disgusting. I just don't get it. I hate more than anything in the world being in a really, really crowded place to the point where I'm walking slow, but it's not because of me. It's because of the person in front of me that's not walking. It's going so slow, doodling around, looking at just, it's such a nice thing. I'm just walking really slow. Like, dude, fucking move and let me go in front of you, man. And that's everyone that was there. And it would really piss me off. But aside from that, there's a really, really good melon joint. Right, it's like the main strip that you walk down to this shrine. I don't know exactly what the shrine's called. I apologize. You're walking down, and it's a alleyway on the right side of it, as if you're looking at the shrine. It's on the right, and it's an old lady, and she's cooking up some nice melon pan, and it's so fluffy, and it's made with love. You can just tell. So that's a really good one, melon pan. Highly recommend. This other one is called what's it called? Silk Cream. Silk Cream is really good. It's a place. They're like spread out through Shibuya, or where we saw anyway, at Alcasilia Cafe or something. They have, I can't remember exactly what the fuck that's called. Some of this pronunciation, bro, I'm not even going to bother, like, honestly. So one of these cafe places have it, but then there's also like this main place has Silk Cream. It is really, really good ice cream. It's so, as the term suggests, it's super silky, and they have vanilla and chocolate too, and you can get it as like half and half, and it is just delightful. What else was there? There was Flippers, which is a place. Actually, we had another ramen joint. I'll talk about that in a sec. Flippers is like a pancake place. We waited like 2 hours, and I would highly not recommend to go there if there's a really, really long wait. It was not worth it. It's these really fluffy pancakes. They're very popular in Japan, but they were so eggy, and like you needed. So that mine came with 3 little fluffy pancakes, and they're really quite high too. So they're 3 pancakes, and mine came with like some berries, like strawberries, raspberries, and something else. But it needed like an ice cream or a cream to just cut through the sweetness of the fruit, but also the egginess and the really weird taste of that pancake. It was really fucking weird. So I would recommend it if there's no line. If not, I don't really recommend it. It's somewhere you can go, experience it, and I'd be like, bro, I would never ever go again. So yeah. Another ramen place I actually forgot, which is on here, is called Ipuro. Ipuro is kind of like the rivalry of Ichiran, and I actually preferred Ipuro over Ichiran, but it's still pork based, but they don't have any spice. So that was really weird, because I always like spicy ramen. I don't usually get just normal pork. At Tatsunoya though, that was completely different. I only ever got pork, and if they had this spicy sauce, because they always used to sell out, that was beautiful. So Ipuro, definitely recommend. Ooh, my wraps are coming up, fam. Ugh. Genki Sushi we talked about. Pablo. Pablo is a place in there's one in Ikebukuro, which is like the anime and gaming district of Tokyo. That was pretty good. It's a cheesecake. I mean, we loved it second time around, but then third time we were like, yeah, we're kind of over this. I'm gonna get it again. So if you like cheesecake, I still highly recommend to get Pablo. Kokakari we spoke about. Lotteria Nuggets. That was kind of like a really hyped thing that we saw all over the internet. Lotteria is it's basically like a Burger King, but it's just different than Burger King, I guess. It's kind of still fast food. Their nuggets are apparently really good. We tried them and we're like, there's nothing too crazy about it. Another one called Curry Pan in Temaya, which the one, if I remember this was one in actually Shimokitazawa. Oh, we're going to go into Shimokitazawa soon, bro. Don't you worry about that. But curry pan, it's like a fried, the outside is crispy and fried, and it's bread, and the inside's filled with curry. I wasn't a big fan because it was cold. It would have been sitting there for a while, and I wanted a fresh one. Like, I looked at the lady, and I was like, yeah, low key, I don't want a cold one. Give me a hot one. And she just gave me the one that was there, and I was like, you fucking serious, man? This is shit. It's cold. It's not even warm temperature, man. It's just cold. So that was kind of like, that put me off curry pan overall because I had it everywhere else and it just wasn't the same. So, I mean, if I would still highly recommend to try it, I guess. The pudding egg cut, once again, was in Shimokitazawa, I think, as well, if I remember correctly. It comes in the form of an egg, like the plastic out. It's like an egg, but the egg is plastic. So you take off the top. It's like you kind of like crack it open, but you just take the top off. And then the inside is a nice, beautiful custard. It's between custard and pudding. And it's eggy, but it's not. Because it's sweet, savory. And then the bottom is filled with caramel. But it's not sweet caramel. It's actually quite salty, and it cuts through the sweetness of the pudding. It is really, really good. Like, if I could eat so many of those, man. We only had one to share between me and Renee, and yeah, I really wish we got like 5 because I would have smashed them all. Highly, highly recommend. Ringo apple pie, I think, yes, it's the one I actually tried in Sapporo, but I think they're located in Tokyo too, if I'm not mistaken. So Ringo apple pie is probably the best apple pie I've ever had in my life. The pastry was just so delicate and so nice. Oh my God. And the actual apple was just, it's different though, because the fruit in Japan tastes like real fruit. Like you can tell it's grown properly, because a lot of the fruit over here in Australia, it's been like, it's on steroids. A lot of them, they don't come out like that. Did you know, I'm pretty sure about this. I think I read it somewhere. That eggplant is actually not supposed to be purple. It's actually dyed, apparently. I don't actually know if this is true, but this is what I read somewhere. It's actually dyed, which is pretty fucked. So the fruit over there it's just different. That's why it's expensive too, because it's actually seen as a delicacy. And the apple inside the apple pie was just fucking amazing. So Ringo apple pie. And another one we'll go into really quickly if I can see on here. There are a few, but Luke's Lobsters, really, really good. It's a lobster in a roll. It's a lobster roll, but it's amazing. Like, I don't like lobster, and I loved that roll. It was delicious. It's like cooked and marinated in garlic butter. The actual roll is breaded with garlic butter too. So good. What's it called? Calbee is like a brand that it's kind of like the Smith's chips. If the Australians know, if anyone else knows, like Kellogg's and everything. Is it? No, not Kellogg's, you fucking idiot. Like Doritos and stuff. You get what I'm trying to say, man. Calbee, they just make chips and shit, yeah? This place in Harajuku has a place called Calbee. You walk in and they have chips there. You buy them and they drizzle it with chocolate. Yes, they drizzle it with chocolate. Don't knock it till you try it, because I know it sounds really disgusting, but that shit tasted beautiful. It's salty and sweet. Oh my God, man. It's just the perfect combo. Salty and sweet, man. You're just like, ooh, this is salty. But then you get that chocolate and you're like, ooh, this is sweet. What the fuck's going on? So that's really, really good, man. Highly recommend that. And that's on Takashita Street, which, holy shit, man. It was so packed. Like way more packed than our second trip. It just gets more populated, man. It's actually insane. So those are just some food recommendations I highly recommend. They're mostly all snacks and stuff. There was one place, but I don't know exactly what it was called. Oh, was it Milk Ice Cream? Is that literally what it's called? I think that there's a place, right? This is the best ice cream I've ever had in my life, hands down. This was just insane. It's ice cream, right? It's literally called Milk Ice Cream, and it's in Harajuku. So just Google it. It's on the corner of, it's next to Harajuku Street, if you guys are wondering. This place, right, is so, the actual ice cream is actually quite, it's got actually a bit of texture behind it. It's actually quite hard, but not like how we like chewing on it. So it just is, it's a hard texture on the outside. You spoon it or you lick it and then it just melts on your tongue. It's actually insane. And the way it looks, I can't really describe it other than it looks like pillows. It's like a pillow of ice cream. It's absurd. It's so good. I definitely recommend to try it. So other than that, those are just some food recommendations. There was a pizza joint, but I am so cut that I don't remember what it was called. But that was the best pizza I've ever had, hands down. But now we've got the food experiences out of the way. Next, we're going to get into the actual attractions or experiences that I had in Japan, being the Cup Noodle Museum. So I went to the Cup Noodle Museum, which is in Yokohama. This place, I was expecting it to be really shit because everyone always spoke about it and was like, oh yeah, it's a noodle museum. How good could it be? Man, was I taken away. I was blown away by how good that place was. It was probably the highlight of my trip. I don't know, because Team Labs was really good too. But this Cup Noodle Museum, you go in and you can make your own noodles from like the outside. So you buy the cup noodle, and if you guys aren't aware, cup noodle is like a really big thing in Japan. It's instant ramen. It was made in 1958, and the guy that created it wanted to be able to package food and be able to eat instantly, hence instant ramen. So people, when they went to war, they could easily take that and use that as rations. So this guy created a cup noodle, and the outside of the cup, you can buy, when you go in and you do like the little, whatever it's called. What the fuck's it called? The interaction or whatever. You go in, you buy the cup, and you get to decorate it and shit. That's what I'm trying to say. You decorate it. Mine's really woke. I tried to do like a fucking Batman symbol and put vibes, and then to put Japan 2018 and all this shit. It came out really, really bad. But then you go and you take your cup and you give it to the people on the other side of the counter, and it's through a see-through glass. And then you see the actual you see like the product line and how it actually gets created. So you see the noodle, it's circle, so it's actually supposed to fit inside the cup. You see that go in the actual cup. You see the cup get filled with like seasonings, which you can choose. So you kind of get to make your own. So I made like a curry seasoning with like pork bits in it, some corn and like other stuff. And then you see it, put the lid on, and then you see it go through like an oven so that the, what the hell is it called? You know, when like they do the, what the hell is it freaking called, man? Oh, glad wrap. And when they glad wrap it, it goes through the oven, it goes through like this conveyor belt oven, and then the glad wrap kind of makes it super sealed, which is really interesting to see hands on. I was like really surprised. So that's like one experience. That's something I really highly recommend. It was just super fun. You go with your girlfriend, you go with a bunch of mates. It's just to really have a good time. And then we looked from the corner of our eye and we saw this see-through window, and we saw this massive room, and they're filled with like pasta makers and like flour, and you see these people and they've got these aprons on, and you see them making ramen. And me and my girlfriend looked at each other like, what the fuck? Like, how do we get there? Like, is that like, do I have to be super special to do that? Do I have to be in school? Is it only for school kids, or is it for just parents and their kids? What the hell is it about? So we went to the counter, and the next thing you know, it cost me 500 yen, which was $6 to $7. And it was in 15 minutes. You walk in, you sit down, you feel like this, you feel like actually it's, you know what it is? You get to make the noodles from scratch, like the base. from the flour and the seasoning to the packing, which is really, really cool, man. That was insane. So you pay like 500 yen, but you get way more. Like, you get more for what you pay, because you get the ramen that you make, you get another identical ramen to eat if you don't want to eat your exact one, and then you get like this big ramen noodle, instant noodle bowl that you get to take home as like, it might be a new thing that they're introducing, and they want to get people to try it first to kind of get a word of mouth going, which is a really good marketing technique. But dude, it was insane. It was so, even though everything was in Japanese, I didn't understand anything, but they have like an English menu that an English recipe and like method, and you know how to actually do it. And then the guy in front of us who was actually taking us, because like separate everyone into groups, the guy that we had was just so cool, man. He was so happy about his job, and he was just so happy to see us. Like, you could see him and you know he loved his job, because he was just teaching us how to make ramen. And I can picture his face already, man. I picture his smile, and I'm like, dude, you make me so fucking happy. I fucking love you. It was so good, man. And that whole cup noodle museum, like in terms of how much it costs, was peanuts. I think all up, it might have been like 1,200 yen, which is like $15, and you get like 5 cups of ramen. So if you would have paid for that at like a convenience store, you'd be paying a little bit closer to that amount of money. So you do get your money's worth as well, which is so nice. Another place, which was something really, really interesting, was called Team Labs. Team Labs is a place, it's actually divided into two. There's 2 Team Labs places. There's one called Borderless, which is the place that we went to, and then there's one called Planets. So Team Labs is a museum that dedicates itself to projecting art and projecting almost an atmosphere and euphoric feeling through lights. Lights and atmosphere is what they intend to project, to make it feel as if time has stopped. You feel euphoric. You feel like you're just in another realm. You feel like you're just not on Earth. So you walk in, right? And I mind you, definitely pay and go early, or else you have to line up. We went not relatively early, so we only waited like half an hour. I think it was about half an hour, 45 minutes. But definitely buy tickets before you go. You can buy them online and then pick them up from a convenience store, or like a Lawson, a 7-Eleven. I think it might have been just a Lawson, I think. So Team Labs, we did not know what to expect. We've seen photos on IG, and you kind of get a gist, and you're like, all right, I kind of get a vibe. But like, you're lining up right, and then like they're telling you like floors are going to be like a little bit weird, floors a little bit uneven, it's going to be see-through mirrors that aren't there, that you're just like tripping the hell out, bro. Like, what am I in for? I'm quite scared. And there's a black curtain, and you're like, what the fuck? So you open the black curtain, you go through, and it's just beautiful. It is something that you need to go to experience, because myself, I cannot explain to you how amazing, how euphoric it felt, and how alive I felt to be in there. So there are a few places. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, as I don't want to go too much into detail, so you guys get the whole experience of when you go. But there's some places where you walk in, you experience the room, you walk out, you do another place, and then you come back to the same freaking room, and it's different. It's like the artwork's different, the lights are projecting something else, and you're like, whoa, I was just here, but I'm not. It's something different. So Team Labs, that was Borderless, and the main thing at Borderless, I'm not gonna say the main thing, because there are a few. There's a place called Athletic Forest, which is pretty cool. It's very interactive. It's very child based, but I'm 23, bro, and I had the time of my fucking life. I was doing like rock climbing and all this shit. I was having the time of my life. It was so good. I'll go into one in detail, because this one was really good, and you have to line up for it. And if you didn't know about it and you don't want to line up, you'd miss out so hard. It's a place, it's a room, right? You walk in, and there's like, it's probably like 2 stories high, the whole room, but you're actually walking in the middle of it through rope, and like a bridge made out of rope, pretty much. And then you lay down on this net, and then you look up towards the roof, and then it's projecting like a light show. And that was just, in that point in time, I thought time had stopped, and I'm just in this moment, like in this specific moment in time, if I feel like I know this is like really weird to say, but I feel like my soul had left my body and I was just there, just looking at it like, whoa. And I didn't say a word the whole time. I went for like a couple of minutes. I'm just sitting there, and the only thing I said after that to my girlfriend was, whoa, that was nuts. Like, that's the only thing I could describe about it. And like, you look to the bottom of the net, and technically the floor goes on forever because it's mirrored, so you see yourself, but then like it just repeats itself. So that's really, really cool. There's other ones too. There was another one which is like a lamp place where there's like lamps hanging from the ceiling, but you only have like 30 seconds to a minute in there. But we unfortunately didn't get to do it because at that point in time we had spent, I think it was 2.5 hours, and apparently the line was like an hour and a half long. So we would have been there for 4 hours, and we were supposed to get a tattoo after that. Or sorry, as actual people would say, tattoo. Because, you know, I'm Aussie now. We just say fucking tattoo, mate. Yeah, you're going to get a tattoo today? Yeah, fucking nice, mate. So that was one thing we wanted to do, was get a tattoo. Tattoo in Japan. I will talk about this briefly. So we had booked a place called Japan Tattoo. And the idea that I wanted to get, so I wanted to get I had a few ideas in mind, but I was obviously just going to choose one. And now coming back, I've got way more ideas that I want to implement on my body. Because tattoos, man, when you get one, you want to get more. So the current one I've only got one, and it's coordinates on my right forearm, towards like my elbow. And it's the coordinates of where I was born. And I was born in Argentina, specifically Neuquén. So I got the coordinates exactly and got it tattooed on my arm. Now, another one I wanted to do was I wanted to get 2 bars behind me on my neck, which is pretty fucking sick. I saw this on a tattoo. I've got a photo and it's insane. It's just 2 bars. Now, you could say it's very Ricky Dicky, but I just like the aesthetic of 2 bars. It just looks really nice, and apparently 2 bars signifies power. So that was really cool. So that was one idea I had. Another one, which I want to speak about in detail, because this one, it means a lot to me, but when you think of it from the outside, not thinking like of my perspective, you're probably thinking, Rob, what the fuck's wrong with you? Are you depressed? What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you getting this? So originally when I went there to Japan, I wanted to get Memento Mori. So let me just quickly get this out of the way. Japan Tattoo charged way too much. Like, I think it was like 15,000 yen minimum. So that would have been $200, and I was not going to pay that for a small tattoo. No way. So I'm going to get it here eventually. So if you guys are aware, I'm a massive, huge fan of Mac Miller. I've been a fan of Mac Miller for over 7 years now. Probably, I think 7, 8, or 9 years I've been a fan of him. And as you guys know, recently passed away. And now I'm not. Like, every time someone, like a celebrity, you know, tends to pass away, people just move on quickly. It's because they didn't really know them. Like, obviously, if a significant one, you know, that you know passed away, you're obviously going to be emotional, you're going to cry, whatever. So when I woke up one morning, my girlfriend said to me, she's like, Mac Miller died. And I thought I was dreaming. Like, I honestly thought I was dreaming and that you were talking shit. Like, what the fuck? No way. I looked at her and I was like, wait, are you legit? She's like, yeah, he overdosed. And at that point, bro, I actually was like crying a bit. I was like in shock. Because I've been listening to Mac's music for so long. I've seen his progression as an artist. I've seen him grow. I've seen his music develop. I've seen him as that frat college boy. That frat boy from college making music to smoke to. Nikes on my feet. Pure prime example. You put a pair of Nikes on, bro. You feel like you're fucking God wearing a pair of Nikes, listening to that song. I used to do that back in the day. When I was in my teens, bro, I'd wear a pair of Janoskis because that was like the biggest prime trend back then when I was 16, 15. Wearing a pair of brown Janoskis, which I still have today. Wearing those, listening to Nikes on my feet was the best feeling I've ever had. You just cannot compare to that. Seeing him grow as an artist, going from that to watching movies with the sound off, and then pushing out the best mixtape of all time, in my opinion, being Faces, that was like prime Mac. And the sad thing is that I can't remember where I read this or I watched a video on this saying that celebrities, when they're on crack, when they're on drugs, they produce good music. And that's really, 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 really bad to say, because people say, Eminem, you were better when you were on drugs. Mac, you produce really, really amazing music when you were drugs or when you were addicted to drugs. And that's something that shouldn't be a thing, because coming back now to Swimming, that was his best album he's ever done. That was, every time I listen to that album, I feel different listening to that. I feel just good. You know, it's just as simple as that. I feel amazing listening to that album. I listen to it all the time. Now, getting back to the tattoo topic. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant because just Mac was just a really big part of my life. Self-Care, my favorite song ever. Self-Care was just the beat switching that. Holy fucking shit. It's insane. First time listening to that. That's one thing. If you could choose one song to listen to that you re-listen to for the first time, that would be Self-Care. So he's in a coffin. I think he's replicating a movie called the chick's in it, man. It's a samurai chick. Fuck, you guys are probably yelling at me in the podcast right now, and I actually don't remember what it was called. I'm going to Google it on my phone while I'm talking about this. So he's in Self-Care, and he's in the coffin, and he is Self-Care Mac Miller video. Can't even spell. He's in the coffin, and he's got a knife, and he's carving Memento Mori on right in front of him on the coffin. And then the video, he starts punching Memento Mori, like literally fisting it, and then he breaks loose, and then he ends up outside the coffin, and he's alive, and he is self-cared. He's a different person. Here we go. What's it called? Kill Bill. That's what it was. Quentin Tarantino's movie Kill Bill Volume 2, specifically. Yes, that's what it was from. So Memento Mori, you guys are probably just thinking, bro, just fucking spit it out. What does it mean? So Memento Mori is Latin for remember that you have to die. Yes, I know. That's really, really fucked up. I know. But it's kind of, so I wanted to get that on my right arm near my wrist, and on my left arm, I wanted to get Memento Vivere. So Memento Vivere means remember that you have to live. So it's kind of like a double, is it called a double entendre, or like a double meaning? So like, remember that we all die one day, but at the same time, don't forget that we all live to see today. So you kind of wake up in the morning and don't take life for granted. So that's one thing I took for granted was Mac, because he came to Australia one day and I didn't get to see him because I was sick. And instead of being sick, I actually ended up going to training and training tennis, and I didn't go to his concert. And that is one of my biggest regrets in life, was not going. So every time there's a concert of an artist that I love, I will go. No matter what it is, I will fucking go, because I'm not going to skip another artist like Mac ever again. So yeah, we got a little bit, that was a little bit touchy, fam. That was just like, what's in the zone? Like, fuck, man, I really want to get this out there, because that's one topic I really, really had on my mind for fucking weeks, and I really wanted to tell you guys about. So those are the two tattoos I have in mind, and then I'm also going to get Self-Care in script on my right arm as well, and then eventually just fill up with just like the patchy tattoo artwork, where like it's not a full sleeve, but you've got patches of artwork, and you kind of you can still see the skin throughout the whole of your arm. So that's one thing I want to do. So the experience of getting a tattoo in Japan didn't happen because it was just too fucking expensive. And apart from that, the experience in Sapporo was really, really good. We were there for just one night. So we landed in the morning, and then we stayed in a hotel for a night, and then left a day later. Now Hokkaido is known for their cream, or it's not their cream, sorry, more so for their cows and their dairy. So I don't know what they feed them. I don't know what they do to them. They probably because I know they treat Wagyu and they treat Kobe, because Kobe is like, if you go to Kobe, those cows, they're like gods. They're treated like humans. They're treated like real people, you know? Like they get fed every day, 3-course meal, probably 5, probably 6, you never know, because that's why Kobe beef is like one of the best beef in the world. So Hokkaido is known for their cream and the dairy and the sweets, and also the beer, which unfortunately I didn't get to try. But fuck me, dude. One thing I didn't know, and one thing I was not prepared for, was the weather in Sapporo. It was so cold, man. It was -3 degrees. Like in the city, man. Like I don't get that. Like as an Australian, like I posted on my IG, I was like winter in December. And then everyone that wasn't in Australia was like, yeah, bro, what do you mean? That's fucking life. Like that's what it actually is. So I'm thinking, holy shit, dude, like this is actually normal to be winter in December, and it was fucking snowing. Like I woke up the day later, I woke up in the morning to go to the toilet or something. It was like 7 in the morning. I looked outside and it was just a blanket of white snow. And I was like, what the hell am I looking at? This was insane. It's such a beautiful thing to look at. It's one of those things where you look at and you just appreciate it. I didn't take a photo, so I just looked at it and was like, whoa, no shit. That's nuts. And then when we landed as well, so prior to that, we landed, we went to the hotel, we were super exhausted, we were so tired. But we ended up walking out and you can just see little snowflakes. And I look at my girl and we're just like, what the hell? It's snowing. Like we were getting so gassed. We were so happy. And then we went to the radio tower in Sapporo. And it's like a red, it kind of looks like the, I don't know how to explain it. What is it? It just looks like a radio tower pretty much. And you go up to the top and you get to see all of Sapporo. And when we landed and when we got to the city, I said to Renee, I was like, this is a pretty tiny city. It's not that big. She was like, yeah, it looks quite small. Looks pretty, pretty tight and, just very small. And then we got on that tower, dude. We looked up and we're like, yeah, nah, that's complete opposite. It was so big. There's actually like a river that flows throughout the whole city. It goes for about 2 kilometers, I think. And you can see that river from the top of the radio tower. It's a really, really good experience, man. If you ever do go, which I highly recommend if you go and want to go somewhere else other than Tokyo, Sapporo is a really good place to check out. It's very, very calm, peaceful. It's nothing like Tokyo. It's kind of like, because you're in Tokyo, right? Especially if you're in Shibuya, you're in Harajuku, you're in these really, really busy districts, especially these young generation type districts like Harajuku. It gets a bit hectic sometimes. It's very, very populated and very crowded. So going to Sapporo it's a different change in scenery. It's very, you kind of get taken aback. It's like the holiday within the holiday. So it's really weird because you kind of get a break from Tokyo. You're like, fuck man, so many people, man. Let's just chill in Sapporo for a bit. So if you really love seafood too, they are known for their seafood dishes. And we went to this place. It was like a seafood market on the corner. I was just like walking around. I didn't do anything because like I don't like seafood. But my girlfriend ended up eating crab or lobster. I think it was crab. Yeah, it was crab. She had this crab and she said it was the best crab she's ever had in her life. And you can see they're actually this specific little place. It's like how can I say? It's just like a seafood market, but just stalls. And you see the shop and they've got the crab actually in the water, like in tanks already. So you see them, they're live, and then they cook it in front of you too. And I'm pretty sure that what Renee was telling me is that when you buy them, you actually buy them live. So you have to cook them yourselves and you have to kill them yourselves. So that was really interesting. But if you really love seafood, definitely highly recommend that. But apart from that, we're going to get into the good shit, fam. We're going to get into the good shit. The shops, the pickups that I got. What's been happening, fam? That's why you went to Japan. Let's talk about it. So I landed and the day later I went to Ragtag. Fuck, that was shit. It was so shit. I don't know why. I think it was because either just the times that I went to the Ragtags that I visited, there was nothing there, or something that I wanted was really, really pricey. I really wanted the North Face Purple Label, but once again, it was a little bit pricey, so unfortunately, I didn't get the cop. Unfortunately, it was so cut, man. I just really love North Face Purple Label because it's something you don't get anywhere else apart from Japan. Because if you guys aren't aware, Purple Label is only North Face based. It's a sub-brand from North Face. It's a lot higher quality. It uses Japanese-based materials, and it only is sold in Japan. So, just letting you guys know. Camera always cuts off, man. It's the fucking biggest thing about this stupid Canon. It just cuts off after 30 minutes, man. You're like, fuck me, I'll do it all over again. So, going back to it, one of the Ragtags that I visited had this North Face Beams collab tack vest. That was insane. It was so sexy. and it was like 25,000 yen, which was like 300-ish. So I was a little bit cut because like by then, I'm saying a lot of this by then I was broke because literally a lot of it that I saw, I was already broke by then. So that was one thing that I saw. I saw another rag tag. I believe it was in Ginza. It was in just one of these shopping malls where a lot of these malls are very tiny and they're just built up. So there's like a couple stores, you go on an escalator, you go up, and that's what it is. So this rag tag within a shopping complex had a head porter, what's it called? Pouch. Like coin pouch. It was really nice because as you guys know, if you guys have seen my IG, I've been rocking this waist bag a lot. This waist bag is probably like one of the best things I purchased in Japan. I'm only going to show the guys on YouTube because like, you know, that's where you guys can actually see it. So this waist bag it's so useful because it's so easy to wear and it's so spacious. It's so spacious. You've got 2 pockets at the front. You got Porter branding at the front. I've got like this little ninja keychain to add that little bit of flair of Japan within my waist bag now. So this I picked up in the Porter store at Harajuku. Now, one thing I want to get out there about head porter or porter, whatever. They're actually going out of business. Not. Let me take that back. They're not going out of business. They're actually rebranding. They're not going to be Porter anymore. So if you see gums or you see if you see any pieces, any bags that you love from Porter and you want to pick up now, definitely do it before next September. Because as I was purchasing this, I really wanted that waist bag. I wanted it in black. And unfortunately, they didn't have it. They only had it in navy. And the black is actually discontinued. And I was like, holy shit, what else is going to be discontinued? And specifically, this bag is going to be discontinued too. So as I was purchasing it, he was like, by the way, why do I have something stuck in my throat? Holy shit, man. Been talking for like an hour and I feel so gassed. So as I was purchasing this piece, the guy said to me, by the way, no longer, no more. And I'm like, whoa, wait, hold up. Hold the phone. What do you mean, fam? What do you mean? And I said to him, like, excuse me, like, wait, what? And he gave me this little envelope, and on the envelope, it basically says, next September, Porter is going to be discontinued. We're going to be rebranding. And then low key, I said to the dude, what's it going to be called? Oh man, he full ripped out the secret. And I was like, fuck man, couldn't get to leak anything. So Porter, next September, going to change brands. So they're going to rebrand everything. So definitely, if you see something you want, go ahead and get it now before you can't get it anymore. Or maybe, just maybe, prices might rise due to the rebrands because Porter is Porter. It's just such a nice brand because obviously they have a variety of different stuff to buy. Prices are pretty good and you don't get for what you pay for. You get more than what you actually pay for. This was about $170 for the waist bag. It feels like it's like a $300-$400 bag because there's so much space. I fit my DSLR with the 24-70 kit lens, which is a pretty big lens, fit the DSLR in it, and I still had room for like my passport, wallet, Wi-Fi thing, portable Wi-Fi, all this shit, man, bowl of water, everything. So definitely highly recommend a waist bag if you want to get that whole big tack vibe going. So yeah, Porter, go ahead and check it out. So that was one thing I really wanted to just put out there. Head Porter is going out of fucking discontinuing. What else we have? Ragtag, we spoke about. Kindle. Was it Kindle? No, sorry, Ring Can. I didn't go into any Kindles. I went into one and saw a pair of Needles trousers and they were like 400 and I said, suck my dick. See you later. I went to Ring Can instead. And Ring Can, I only went to the one level and it's the top level. It's in Shibuya and that top level has all just high-end thrifted shit like Yoji, Com, Rick, Margiela, SLP. Oh, I can keep going, but I don't know anymore. I think from what I remember, that's what I could see. Rick trousers for days. I was really surprised at how the prices were because they were actually really good. I saw a pair of Creech cargos from a very, very old season, maybe 2011, 2012. And they were really thin cotton, which is like one pair of Creeches that I would much rather have than the ones I used to have, which were cotton nylon based, cotton polyester. These ones, unfortunately, were way too small. They were extra small and they definitely looked like it. And they were a little bit beat to shit. But I still don't care about that, because if it was and they fit, I'd probably still buy it. So I saw those Creature cargos there, and they were about $350 to $400, which is still really, really good price. And then I saw a bunch of Yoji trousers. If you guys are watching the video, I copped the Yoji piece. I copped my Growl Yoji piece, fam. I'm gassed about it too. I'm so happy. I saw a lot of Yoji trousers, and at this point I was broke. So I'd already bought everything that I wanted, and yeah. So I saw a lot of Yoji trousers, and they were actually really good priced at around $300 to $350. Now some were going for about $800 to $900, and that's maybe or definitely the reason for that is because that specific pair of trousers probably would have retailed at around 1.2, 1.5. And obviously for that reason is the materials and the fit of that specific pair of trousers you will not find anywhere else. So one thing we'll speak about in a minute is the Yoji store. I just had my first hands-on experience with Yoji, and holy shit, was I fucking shocked. So the Ring Can has a really, really good selection of everything, and they had a lot of Yoji trousers. A lot of Com as well. Comme des Garçons for days, and just brands that I've never heard of from Com, and also Japanese brands I've never heard of before. So that's one thing I didn't have any knowledge in Japanese brands. Not a fucking clue. So just looking at all these brands and being like, whoa, man, like this piece looks fucking sick. I don't know who the hell it's from, but this piece looks fire. So that's one thing when you go into Japan. Maybe do a bit of research. Go on the casual. He's a really, really good dude and has such great knowledge in Japanese fashion. But maybe just do a bit of research on Japanese brands. But if not, just go with an open eye. If you see a nice piece, just cop it. One actual place I want to speak about in particular is called Tento. This one I'd never heard of until I saw it actually a sign as I was walking to get silk cream. I saw the sign for Tento, so it's actually 10 and then TOW. It's in almost like an apartment building. You walk in, you almost could feel as if this was going to be someone's apartment. And you walk in, go through elevator, walk in Tento, and there's so many just Japanese brands I've never heard of, and then typical Yoji and Com. Whoa, that was really, really good place. I was so upset at myself that I didn't have enough money to purchase a pair of Yoji trousers when I was there, because those were really good, relatively good priced pair of, it was a really good store because it was fucking cheap. That's what I'm trying to say. So Tento, definitely highly recommend. Now, going to the district in particular I want to talk about is Aoyama. So Aoyama is a district based next to Shibuya and Harajuku. It's not that quite far from one another. And it's where all the high-end shit is, fam. Rick, Yoji, Prada, Stella McCartney was there as well. Com was there as well. And that's, I think, the only ones that I walked into. There was a COS in there, pretty funny enough. COS was pretty expensive, to be fair, but it was a really nice store. It had some nice garments, but it's COS. I'm not paying $200 for something from COS that's high-end H&M. No thanks. So going to Aoyama, that's one district that I think I mentioned in my first podcast. If I didn't, that's what it's called. So Aoyama, walked in there. I went to there, on the Tuesday, following the Thursday that I landed, and walked into first Yoji. I was like, you know what? Like last time on my podcast, fam, I was talking about, being a little bit self-conscious and shit. Yeah, your boy didn't give a fuck, fam. I don't even care. I walked in, no fucks given. And it was good. It was really, really good. I was really blown away by how nice the store looked. It was floorboards, and then the walls actually were just curtains. So it was if you were like in an actual showroom, and all the pieces was just spread out on a rack throughout the whole of the entire walls. So one wall had one massive rack, and you just go through them and you just suss. Now, mind you, I walked in on the Tuesday, on the 20 something, I don't even know. And then the December 1st, which was a Saturday, they were getting new season. And this was one store I didn't go into with the new season. I went into Issy for the new season. So we'll speak about that in a sec. So I went into Yoji. Middle floor is women's, bottom's men's. And I had my first hands-on experience feeling Yoji pieces. Blown away. or how the texture on some of the trousers, man, you just be like, dude, how do you create this? Like, that was the only thing that was going through my mind looking through each of these pieces. Like the overshirts, the overshirts. They were like nice drapey black and white shirts, and some of them just had a nice crazy as fuck artwork on it, which was just insane. But just, that was the main thing I love about Yoji is the trousers, because the trousers on Yoji just fit fucking insane and you can't get them anywhere else. But the fabric, man, that's one thing you just question is like, where do you get this fabric? How do you create this trouser? How do you make it look like that? One thing I want in particular is balloon pants. They're on Essence right now on sale for really cheap, if anyone's curious. I'm broke, obviously. After a holiday, you're always going to be broke, especially in like the new year, Christmas and shit. So, Yoji, amazing. I highly recommend it, definitely. And I didn't go into Prada because I saw it from the outside and was like, oh yeah, I get the aesthetic. I don't have money to afford anything at Prada. I'm not going to really worry about it. I wasn't too keen. Because I know, especially with Prada being a really high-end place, you can find cheapest shit online. That's the same retail. Like same season, but at a cheaper price point. Because one thing I wanted to mention was our first or second trip. My girl bought a Celine purse. That purse costed around like $1,200 after conversion, $1,300 or something. And actually in Australia at Maya was $800. So definitely something you should take into consideration is conversion, currency, and then if you pay by card, you have to pay like a percentage for using your card, just to make sure. I'll just let you guys know. So didn't go into Prada, went into Yoji, didn't go into Cavempt because fuck Cavempt. Not so much fuck Cavempt the brand because some of the pieces are fire, but I just didn't go into the store, go through all that hassle again. No thanks, don't want to deal with that. Walked into Issey Miyake. Issey freaking Miyake. So I went into Issey Men. Now, Issey Miyake Men is like very, 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 very expensive. So I walked in and I was like, I don't want this. I want en plissé, if that's how you pronounce it. I want that. I want pleats. I want pleats, please. Please. So I asked the lady and she pointed me in the direction and I walked into a place where it was called Issey Miyake Reality Labs. Now, this place, this store is designed so that it's kind of gives off a laboratory scientific based vibe with very what's it called? Giving off that like scientific atmosphere. Don't worry, whatever I'm saying, it just has hints of green, white, and grey within the whole place. Very vibrant hints of green throughout the shop. And when you walk in, the table is kind of like see-through. So like the pieces are meant to seen as levitating to give like that scientific shit, you know. And the clothing rack as well, like the clothes are meant to be seen as levitating, which is really cool. Now, mainly this place is, they only really sell pleats please or en plissé. If I'm butchering that, I am so sorry. So walked in on that Tuesday to Issey, and that was one thing I wanted to get when I was there. Pleats, please. So I ended up seeing a pair of black pleats, which were pleats trousers, which have the pleats that run from the waistband up until halfway to your thigh or borderline just above the knee. Then the knee area is a simple fabric, and then again the pleats come back, which is just fucking insane, dude. It comes back towards the calf and the ankle. And it's a wide cut at the thigh and then tapers. And it doesn't taper too much, but it's still a really nice pair nevertheless. I freaking love them. Now, one thing I want to specify is that this place is disgustingly cheap. I don't understand why everything is cheap, because the retail was around 21,000 or 20,000 yen, which is equivalent to about $250 for a brand new pair of pleats that is retail. So you go on, I was literally looking at Grailed last night too, because I was looking at the tailored pair. It's a tailored pair, it's straight cut, and it's just pleats the whole way. I saw one for $600, bro. Are you serious? I'm not going to pay that. Why would I pay that when this shop, Issey, sells them for $250? This guy's probably in Japan, bro, and he's finessing everyone and putting them on Grailed for like double the price to make a fucking profit. So everything there. Like most of all the basic pleats were $200 or $250, sorry. So if anyone that is curious and wants to buy a pair of pleats, but you're going to Japan, just hold off, man. Do not buy them now. Don't go on Farfetch. You can go on Essence. Essence have them on sale right now, but every month they come out with new seasons. So this is one thing I want to speak about, is because when I bought that first pair, the guy finessed me. He goes, hey, we're getting new season on Saturday. I'll show you some of the stuff that we're getting. I was like, fuck me, man. Am I going to have to take out money? Am I going to have to transfer money over just to be able to cop this nice pair of pleats? What are you going to show me? Show me a nice, beautiful pair of plum pleats, man. Oh my God. So they had plum, mustard, typical grey, white, cream, black, and all the other ones. But they have they throw in a little bit of colors. Oh, and also red as well. Just to throw in a bit of diversity in colors. Because like black, white, grey, and cream, it's just everywhere. But now they're throwing in different colors. Like this plum pair, which I actually purchased the Saturday when I went back. So I went back to Issy, and I got a water bottle. One thing you guys should know is if you buy something, always ask for some water, because you never know what they're going to give you. I went to Rick the second time and I got the Rick water bottle, and everyone asked me, bro, where the fuck did you get that Rick water? Got it from Rick, dude. Rick Tokyo. All you got to do is ask. Went to Issy and they gave me the Reality Labs bottle. I think I got 3 of them. No, I've only got 2. I'm pretty sure I only got 2 Reality Lab bottles. I think it was 2. And then the dude threw in some stickers as well for Issey Miyake stickers, which I got to throw on my laptop as well. But those plum pair is the same style as the first one, which I'm a little bit disappointed of because I wanted a little bit in variety in terms of fit. But nevertheless, I'm super pleased with the color. It's something very, very different that I'm not used to. So it's one thing that's going to be a bit of a challenge to me is how do I wear this plum? Now, I could obviously just wear the plum pleats, black hoodie, whatever shoes it may be, or wear like just white shirt, overshirt, whatever it is, or try and just pair up a bit of plum colors here and there. I'm not really quite sure. I think the plum's going to pair really well with the Uniqlo U collection that's coming out, which you guys have not seen. I just posted it 2 days ago. My reaction to the Uniqlo U, fucking fire. Absolutely fire. Definitely want to I'm really glad they brought out some new pieces. So he threw in the water, threw in some stickers. I copped the plum pair. So now I've got 2 pairs of pleats. And one thing, fun fact from Issey Miyake, guys, is that, you know Steve Jobs? Before he passed away, you know how he always used to wear that navy mock neck short sleeve tee? Did you know that was from Issey Miyake? Did you know that this man, whose man's is this? He was rocking Issey Miyake, and who knows? I don't know what brand his stonewashed denim were. They were probably fucking SLP, dude. They probably were, because the guy that was serving me was so nice, such a humble guy. It was just an amazing guy. I can't speak highly enough of this dude. Because on the Tuesday, he's like, we'll show you this, and he goes, I'll be here on Saturday. I will see you then. Came back, remembered me. We were chatting for a while. And then he ripped out this. He goes, try on this t-shirt. And I was like, oh, okay. Because at the time, the second time I went around, my girlfriend was like, you know what? Let's just fucking try everything. Stuff it. Let's try everything that we see. I tried on the mustard pair, but I really loved that one. Like that one was something I really loved. But I was like, you know what? I can get maybe that later because I love a beige. The beige tailored straight cut is the one that I want. But the plum is just something you don't see. You're never going to see that. So I'm really happy I got those instead. And he was throwing me all these garms, and he's showing me this t-shirt. He's like, try this on. Tried it on. It's a mock neck, short sleeve navy tee, and it's got a straight stitch in the middle on the front or at the back. I can't quite remember. Material's sick. Fit is really nice. It didn't fit me quite nice because I was eating a lot of shit, so it was a little bit on the tight side, if you know what I mean. So he threw me that, tried it on, was like, yeah, it's pretty sick. Price was like 30,000 yen, and I was a little bit shocked at that. It was like $370, $350 something. And he goes, you know, Steve Jobs wore that tee. That's something that, like, he just literally said it out of random. He's like, oh, by the way, not many people know this, but Steve Jobs bought a couple hundred of those. A couple hundred of this t-shirt. He's like, yeah, he's had them on rotation, and that's what he wore every single day because that was his uniform. So he was rocking his Miyake, and I was like, dude, that is such a good marketing technique. Like, because now, like, everyone, like, now that I've told you guys, it's just a word of mouth thing. Like, if you didn't know, you didn't know. But now you know that Steve Jobs was rocking his Miyake, dude. That's just insane. There's something I was just like shocked about, honestly. So, apart from that, Ismiyaki store, I just highly recommend it. Nevertheless, it's so sick. Comme des Garçons, I spoke about in my first podcast. It is just a beautiful and artistic place to go to because it's all cement and it's like a dome. It's like a massive, it's a building that's in the shape of a dome that's made out of concrete. And the floor's concrete, everything's concrete. It's so nice. And then the aroma of the fragrance of Comme des Garçons is amazing too. So highly recommend that. And another one was DSM, Dover Street Market. Spoke about it before. Went back there again. And I actually bought a pair of Kiko Kostanov, if that's how you pronounce his last name. Kiko and Asics. I really wanted a pair. Really badly. Because I've seen a lot of people rock either Asics, just normal, I don't even know what the specific name of it is, but normal Asics, whatever, running, dad vibes. That, or the Hoka one, which is, I believe it's French. Could be wrong. So everyone was rocking these Hoka one runners, which is a mix between an Asics and a Balenciaga. It's really weird because it looks amazing. It's such a sick silhouette to wear. It's an all black shoe. It's got a really thick sole, but it's super low key. It's not flexing at all. It's just to give off that nice runner aesthetic, but in all black. That's one shoe I really wanted, but now I can't find it. Now that I'm here, especially when I wanted it, I was broke. So I got the Kiko Asics. I got them in a forest green with they've got hints of brown. That's on the outsole, and also hints of like, I'm looking at them as like, you can kind of see them in the video, semi. Yeah, they're just fucking fire. They're so comfy, man. And I wanted them. It was my excuse to buy them because I kept complaining on the trip to my girl that my feet were sore because I was rocking my Ranger boots every day. One, because it was cold, and two, because I really had nothing else to wear. I could have worn my Vans because I brought them, or I could have worn my loafers, but unfortunately, I didn't wear any of that. So I ended up wearing the Kikos a lot. And then another shoe, which I actually picked up at Adidas Originals in Omotesando Hills / Harajuku, were Yeezys. I purchased a pair of Yeezys, bro. I went back to my Hypebeast days and I copped a pair of 700s. I got the Mauve. Oh god, I'm so lost in this Hypebeast wave, fam. But I saw them. I was like, my mate was going a couple of days before me, or a week. It was not even a couple of days. He went about a week before I went. Shout outs to you, Ryan, if you listen to this little bitch. He actually went to Tokyo and sent me a photo, and he was showing that they're still there. Like, they're not selling out or nothing. I was like, whoa. You know what? I actually love that silhouette. It's sick. It's bulky. It's an earthy toned shoe. I fuck with that heavy. I don't care if it was a Yeezy, if it was anything else, but it was that shoe, I still would have copped regardless. You know me. I'm not about that Yeezy wave anymore, but still that shoe, nevertheless, is a super fire silhouette. So, walked into Adidas, saw that and was like, yeah, let's try them on. Fuck it. Let's give them a go. I might buy them because that's kind of was on my mind when I went. And then tried them on. The guy that was serving me actually lived in the UK for a couple of years, so his English was really, really good. And he was saying like, dude, that looks really nice on you. Like, it looks really sweet. And he can tell he wasn't trying to sell me that. Like, you know when you go into a fucking shoe store and they're like, yeah, that looks nice on you, but it actually looks fucking ugly, but they're just saying that to get a sale. This guy wasn't like that at all. You could tell. And he was like, if you don't like it, don't get it. But I think it looks really nice. And then my girlfriend was like, low key, they look fucking hard. I'm quite jealous. And at the time, I think I was wearing like just Champion sweats, just give like that just baggy vibe. And I think that they couldn't be fuck wearing something, because sometimes, you get a flex, but it's tight, not tight, it's uncomfortable. So I just want to be casual in some sweats, nice and cozy. And it looks so sick, man. It looks so nice, and it pairs up well with a pair of needles that I got. Which we're going to talk about in a minute too. So 700, the Mauve. I don't know, it's a really sick silhouette because of that nice neon hints on the side. And now they're bringing out like a V2 700 or something. It's like I don't know if it's like grey washed black and white or something. It's like a really off-white. It's really, really nice. I actually quite like them. So that was 2 shoes that I picked up when I was over there. I really wanted to get a pair of shoes like Pottery, which is a very, very nice version of Converse. Gabe, who's a good friend of mine, actually showed me that shoe and was like, if you're in Japan, maybe look at these. They look sick. Checked them out and I was like, whoa. So shoes like Pottery, that's literally what the brand's called. They make shoes using the same machines and process that they go into making pots and pottery in general. It was so nice, man. And they've got a stamp on the midsole, and that stamp is never the same because it's handcrafted, it's all handmade, and that stamp is hand pressed. So it's never the same on every single shoe, and it still gives off that Chuck Taylor style, which is similar to the Ramones, which I want again, because I am getting withdrawals from not having Ramones. Ah, God, I miss my Ramones. Just gonna put that out there. So that was one shoe I really wanted to get. Shoes like Pottery, but I didn't end up finding any, which was pretty silly. But apart from that, got a couple accessories, and that was at thrift stores, which we're gonna talk about now, fam. Thrift stores. Oh, also before that, we walked into Beams and also Beauty and Youth United Arrows. Highly recommend both. Beauty and Youth United Arrows have a sub brand called Monkey Time. I highly recommend you guys check out Monkey Time because I copped this turtleneck that is literally the same as the Acne Studios Gnarl sweater. If that's what it is, it's that nice, beautiful turtleneck, which unfortunately the meme artist Drake has worn in Hotline Bling. It's that same vibe, but it's a fifth of the price point. It's so, so nice. Definitely highly recommend you guys check it out. And there's also a Monkey Time store in Omatesando Hills too, next to Ragtag. And that's where I picked up the piece too. And the store was fucking fire. It was so sick. But, thrifting. Last topic for today. Thrifting. What the hell is thrifting like in Tokyo.Vibes? Well, I'll tell you. It is insane, bro. It is so, so good. I can't express my emotions enough to how good thrifting is. It's oh fuck. Okay, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, vibes, chill fam. It's all right. We'll get there eventually. So I went thrifting for a bit in Harajuku, surprisingly. Oh my God, not again. Harajuku first, and I walked into a place called 2nd Street, and that's where I picked up my pair of needles. So 2nd Street is a kind of like a ragtag in a sense. You could say it's a bit like a ragtag, where one floor is divided. So one floor has separate Hypebeast, Supreme, Bape, Stussy, which low-key, I'm loving Stussy at the moment. They have really, really nice trousers. You might see them coming into the new year, definitely. Rocking Stussy since I was like 15, bro. What the fuck? That was half divided one floor, and the other floor was divided into high-end, Rick, Yoji, all that shit. Which, by the way, prices are actually really, really good. I was really surprised because there were a pair. My TE trousers were actually on the rack, and I believe they were like $400, $450, which is really, really good price considering they're like retail $750. But middle floor is women's, and that's actually where I got this ring. If you guys have seen the video, it's like a Workstat inspired ring where it's 4 rings, which actually one overlaps one side to the other, so it kind of gives it like that nice stacked effect. And that's one thing I wanted to pick up, but you know what the funny thing is? My girlfriend saw it and she actually bought it, and I just pinched it off her, so I'm gonna have to pay it back. Soz, babe. So middle floor is women's, and then the bottom floor is curated military workwear 70s style. It's hints of 70s, but mainly workwear and military, and a little sprinkle of brands here and there because I found a pair of needles. So we'll get into just, elephant in the room, pair of needles. I found it's not what you're thinking. It's not pinstripe pair of needles because those you will find resell in Japan, unless you go to Nepenthes, which I unfortunately didn't go to. Oh shit. I didn't go to Nepenthes, but still go because they always have needles trousers. Beams have needles as well for retail, like $260, which is pretty good. I lost my train of thought because my camera cut out again. I found a nice pair of very military type needles trousers. They're so sick. It is military green waistband, size medium, but they fit just whatever size it may be, similar to the Isamiaki pleats, which I forgot to talk about sizing. Talk about that soon. These needles trousers, military green, they're wide cut, and then the bottom, it doesn't have a cuff, right? But it has the tassel on the bottom to tighten it to make it a cuff. So you can kind of see what I'm trying to go here. It is straight cut. It bunches if you tighten up the tassels and do the tightening and shit. So you can wear them with a pair of Asics, or you can wear them with the 700s. Give off similar to that Yeezy season vibe, but it's still a really nice style to have, even though it's just Yeezy. But or you can pull them up and wear them with boots, and that's what I did on my trip too. So I pulled them up, tied them up, and then had my Ranger boots on them, and fuck, was that a sick style, man. It's so nice. Subtle, low-key needles branding with the butterfly, and that's it. And it's so nice to have. So I said that like 6 million times. Holy shit. Those were about $150. Really good. And then the second street also had like heaps and heaps of military type garms, like bomber jackets, overshirts, camo overshirts, vests, everything. And then they've got like low-key sometimes have like berets and also like Baker Boy hats as well. And also denim, carpenter pants, vests. Did I say vests already? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. And kind of like that Dickies Carhartt vibe. And that's one thing I want to speak about next in Shimokitazawa on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Such a meme. So getting back to thrifting in Shimokitazawa. So I spent 8 hours in Shimokitazawa, and not my girl and I spent 8 hours. I felt super bad for her because she was just like dragging her feet by the end of it. So we actually took the train, got off, but we got off on the wrong side, I think, or I don't know what happened, but we ended up on the wrong side of Shimo, and we didn't end up seeing any thrifts until like halfway in. But we just looked around, and that's where we saw like the curry pan and also the egg pudding and stuff. But one thing I want to talk about is the places and the names. You don't need to know the names. Just look at the store and just walk in, because I had a list, right? I had a list of all the shops in Shimo that I wanted to look at. And to be honest with you, I don't remember any of the names that I walked into, and I don't know if I even hit up the stores that I wanted to hit up, because I just looked and I looked and I was like, this place looks sick, let's go in. Some of it, don't get me wrong, about 60% is pretty overpriced. I was a little bit on the prices, but you still find some hidden gems. Now, one in particular being this place that I walked into, which had a thrift store underground, beneath, on obviously like bottom of us, because most of the thrifts that you see are not eye level. You have to look up or look at the sign that says go down. And this one had a bunch of stairs. And the only reason I saw it is because I had a 50%, it said 50% off thrift sale. And I was like, yeah, let's go have a look, fam. What do we got here? Was looking down, was going like down the stairs, and I saw this Carhartt hoodie, and it was a wash black. It was super torn. It was so nice, but had like too many cum stains to count, so I couldn't cop it. And then I walked down and I saw this vest. It's called a Payton vest from Carhartt. Super fire. I saw it on the wall, and because it was 50% off, I was like, yo, I've seen this at Chicago, which we'll talk about in a minute. I saw them at Chicago, and I really wanted to fuck with them, but some of them were just too overpriced in my liking. Saw this one on the wall. Saw it was 4,800 yen. Went down to 2,400, so it was around $29. And I was like, I didn't even try it on. I just said to the lady, can I just have that? Like, I just pointed, and she's like, okay, got it, paid for it, done. Didn't even try it. I didn't even try it until I got home. And fuck me, dude, it is such a nice piece. It's so versatile to the sense where you can wear it in both winter and summer. Like now I can just wear it with a tee, like if it's in like semi hot weather, but then in the winter I can wear a hoodie and wear that over the top. So it's so versatile, and it's a washed brown, and it's got like the paint splatter effect, which I don't think it came like that. It had to be someone who was working like, you know, painting, and then just whoopsie, I got a bit of paint on me, but now it looks fucking fire. So thank you, fam. So I got that. Walked into a Chicago. Now, I want to talk about Chicago and Flamingo. Flamingo's woke because it's so, like, yeah, it's the same stuff everywhere. So in a sense, they're kind of it might be seen as that their marketing scheme is that no matter what flamingo you go to, it's like you're going to all of them and they're all the same. So no matter where you are, you're still going to get that flamingo vibe and still get the same pieces from flamingo. Now, flamingo is very just, vintage, 60s and 70s, and it's just overpriced. Like, I really wanted a corduroy overshirt. That was like one really big thing that I wanted to get when I was in Tokyo, and Chicago had them. They had them in every color. I have a lot of following. Oh shit, my bad. I'm following a lot of IG stores that are from Flamingo, like Harajuku one, the Shimokitazawa one, and I saw the rack of corduroy shirts that they have, and they were insane. They were in every color, and I was like, yo, let me sus, fam. Saw the price and was like, I don't know if I could do it. I think it was like 5,400 yen, which was like $65. Yeah, I know what you're thinking now. Like, yeah, that's actually pretty cheap for an overshirt. But at the time, I knew that for me was just overpriced and that maybe I could find something else for a lot cheaper. Like, come on. I found the Payton vest for like $30. I found a Sherling jacket for $60. The B3 aviator type Dunkirk Sherling jacket. Yeah, I found that from Chicago for $60. That's freaking insane. So going to Flamingo, there was nothing there that was below 4,900 or 4,800 or something like that. So maybe I still highly recommend that. Maybe might be able to find a steal, or maybe they might be having a sale. But it was just, it wasn't quite happy. Like Converse, secondhand Converse were $90. Bruh, I can come here and I can get that cheaper retail, like, with a little cheeky discount code. So, and one thing I also want to speak about was those corduroy shirts that I mentioned earlier. They were all from the same brand, which for me brought out a little, it was a red flag. All right. It was a red flag because I was like, you know what? This could just be reprinted vintage. I'm not fucking with this. Vintage is supposed to be a one of one, really fucked up piece that you're not going to find anywhere else. Whereas these might have just created corduroy shirts printed on a brand like, how could I say, like Revintage or Vintage Rebrand or something like that, whatever it is. It was just the same thing. And every Flamingo that I walked into was the same. The same corduroy shirts, the same corduroy trousers, the same t-shirts and sportswear vibes, because they have like a lot of like vintage Nike and Adidas and stuff. Like that stuff, don't get me wrong, yeah, like you're going to pay a bit pricey for that because they actually are one of one. But the other basic shit was just a little bit hit and miss. So still highly recommend to go, definitely. But Chicago, on the other hand, highly recommend that. Like I said, Sherling jacket for $60. They did have other ones for like $400, which are a lot more of a nicer quality. Very, very heavy duty. Very, very thick wool too. But unfortunately, none of them fit, and none of them fit my price point anyway. So this one that I found for $60 is in brown. It's got a wool on the inside. And the only thing that I really don't like about it is that the collar of the B3 aviator jacket, it's supposed to be thick in a sense where you can pop the collar, and then it has the two clasps or the two belts, the mini belts, which you can clasp to make it tight. Now, usually when you pop the collar, it's supposed to stay up anyway, and this one unfortunately doesn't. It's super, super soft and just meh. So that's the only thing downside about it. And this is not a downside anyway. This next thing I'm talking about is there's a bit of cuts and exposure from the wool on the outside of the leather, which is not a bad thing because it creates character. It shows a sense of being worn in. So it still fits nice anyway. So that's really good. And the fit's pretty nice too. It fits nice now. It's going to fit more oversized as I drop more weight anyway, because your boy put on a bit of kilos when I was in Japan. A little bit on the thick side, fam. But nevertheless, I still highly recommend Chicago. And one in specifically I want to talk about is one in Harajuku. The Harajuku Chicago was a really, really good place. Because I don't know why, but the prices were very different. They were a lot cheaper. I found a pair of Carpenter pants from Carhartt. So Carhartt already, usually everything that's labeled in Carhartt at Tokyo is elevated already because it's Carhartt, obviously. But these were 1,500 yen, which is like $20. And they're not going to fit now. Obviously, they'll fit later in the future. I don't care about that. It's a nice wash black carpenter pants with the actual, that little split on the side, like kind of a little tassel bit. That's frayed and it just worn out. The actual label on the bum cheeks, that's worn out, and everything like about it is just so nice. I don't know. It's really sick too. But apart from that, I found a pair of corduroy trousers as well, which I know is going to make a massive, massive wave coming to 2019. And also neon, being that flashy hue tones, which I think that's what they called. The neon green, neon yellow, orange as well, make a big wave. But yeah, corduroy trousers were like $10-15. You see them at Zara, so that's why it's going to be a big thing. And unfortunately, couldn't find any corduroy shirts. I'm a little bit depressed about that. But, I can find them here on Etsy or Gumtree or eBay or something. Maybe. We'll see. But apart from that, I found this really nice, almost formal workwear wool zip-up. What the hell is it called? It was a... Oh, man, it was on... It's like the Uniqlo U has I can't search it now. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just a nice, simple zip-up jacket, outer wool, and then it has like a nice collar as well, which is pretty nice. Very workwear, formal base, which is pretty sick. But apart from that, walked into Uniqlo. I bought the COS collab. Got just a white basic tee just because I, saw it. Was like, it's COS. It looks pretty sick. It's got the XX on the pocket, and at the back has like the nice COS artwork. So that was pretty dope, and it was relatively cheap. It was like 1,500 yen, which is like less than $20. So that was pretty sick. And then apart from that, nothing else that I really want to talk about. Because I don't want to spoil too much away, even though I pretty much just told you guys everything about what I picked up. But nevertheless, make sure you guys go to Shimokitazawa and just have an open eye for everything, and make sure you look up and you look down, because nothing is ever eye level. And if you want, just Google Maps it. Because sometimes if you're not quite sure where to go, but you know the name of the shop, just Google Maps it, because that's what I did. And if you go back to the couple of videos ago, which was based on what shops am I visiting, I have a link down there, which will give you a Google Maps link, which will give you all the stores that are basically in Tokyo. It's a fucking sick link, so I highly recommend that. But apart from that, we are hitting 1 hour and 45, the longest I've ever done in these last 3 episodes. So I'm going to leave you guys to it here. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the podcast. Make sure you give this a like. Make sure you go and suss out my SoundCloud if you do want to listen to the audio only and not see my ugly fucking face. But if not, thank you for listening. I will leave you with a nice sleeper for today. As Joe Button says, the sleepers are always fucking sick. And I will see you guys on the next video or the next audio podcast on Verdugo Vibes. I'll see you guys later. I'm out, man. Peace.